Let me go. Frank, come on. Come on, we'll go cook you some tomatoes.
Se poi uno cazzotto, lo sa che può fare?
Tu buoni pomodori. Wow. Nice tomatoes, nice lettuce.
Dice che le balla picca avevo, una seccata e l'altra che buona.
Seccata. Seccata.
Papà, guarda quanto è baggio, va?
What the year?
Come on, thanks.
Io mi chiamo Francesco Muto e io sono nato nel 1927, già nella Vena, provincia Cosenza, in Italia. Mio padre non lo conosce perché mi ha lasciati in 4 giorni. È andato a Montevideo, dopo 1935. L'operazione di Tacony.
Our grandparents were traditional Italians, and when they moved to America, they brought that traditional lifestyle with them. So we grew up around the Italian language and Italian meals and traditional prayers before meals. And actually, when they moved to America in the late 1960s, they settled in a neighborhood in northeast Philadelphia where most of the immigrants from their original town in Italy were moving to. So it was almost as if they brought the town in Italy with them to northeast Philadelphia.
For them it was like holding on to a piece of Italy, because this is what my father used to do in Reggiano. He never really had a job, and he would spend his time on his land. Once they came here and they bought a house, they kept up the backyard as a garden.
The gardening for Nonno is such a way of life, but for him there's a comfort in that, in the familiarity of it, in the way of feeling productive, and also because that was something that he and Grandmom shared. It was a lot of work. It was a labor of love, really.
Che non è seccato.
Che cacchio dato così?
You guys want some nice food? Poultry at night? Yeah. So tonight.
For my grandparents, the garden was really a place to be utilized. It was a place that provided for them. It provided them with fresh vegetables and fruits in summertime, and they used those things. They used those things in summer and year-round, too. practically everything from the garden could be used later. It was really nice to walk through it. You would go through the gate, and there was a little path on the left side of the garden running along, and it was very narrow. And you would walk on this path, and next to you would be this just enormous garden and rows of vegetables and everything that she was growing and using to cook. It was just vast.
Well, my earliest memories of this garden were coming in here and being amazed at how big it was, how diverse it was. All kinds of different plants, different vegetables, different trees, and each part of this garden had its own personality. Like the fig trees kind of overtowered everything. I almost felt like there was something kind of enchanted about it, some kind of wonder to it.
Via 16 anni, 17 anni, ho cominciato a lavorare. Lavoravo con Barolo Campagna, un mese di gittare, un mese a provare. Io fu questo, capito, che sia proprio la terra che aveva comprato. E che io ho due Barolo Campagna proprio in casa. Aiuto. Questo gli voluto i tuoi, come cacciò debito i tuoi che io mi ho comprato a proprietario tuoi. Io ero soldato, ero nato, e io ho fatto i tiri per essere soldato. Io che erano 80 persone, che erano come specialisti, caricate, che faceva, e l'altra cosa che avevo avuto. C'era Mussolini, che sono state tutte cose malamente. Ma io ero socialista. E invece a casa io democratico. Ognuno lo può pagare. Ma io ho sparato. San Giuseppe sempre avanti a me è stato. Ricordati che l'anima di San Giuseppe e l'anima mia sono frati. Con 49 mi ero corto e mi aveva fatto fidanzato. Con 50 mi ero maritato.
C'era due nomi, perché un nome registrato era Arsili. Il secondo nome ha messo così Pascalino. E dove chiamavano Pascalino, non la chiamavano Vasili prima.
Era un vicino di fuoco. Mamma mia, aveva la proprietà. Dice, stavano qua, a proprietà. A proprietà di mamma era qua. E una doppietta nel pezzo. Ma capito? Non li conoscevo.
In the 50s, there wasn't any work in Calabria. Dad was able to get a visa to go to Germany. There was plenty of work in Germany and France, rebuilding after the war. So he went there in 1959, and he stayed until 1967 when we came to America. He would come home once a year around Christmas time for about a month. It wasn't really difficult for me. I kind of liked it because he wasn't around, and I could, hang out with my friends and do things that maybe I wouldn't normally do if he were there.
Ma è stato voi per lavorare? Sei andato per lavorare? Per lavorare. È stato 7 anni e mezzo in Germania. Come? 7 anni e mezzo in Germania. Ma non una fusione. Hai capito?
My mother was a very sweet lady, very kind, happy all the time. Her favorite thing was to cook and keep up the house. Maintain the house, clean the house, and cook and cook and cook.
I associate spring, Grandma. She loved flowers and planted many things in the spring. Flowers around her house, around the yard.
Spending the time in the garden is when they did their quality time together. And I remember they would work side by side. They would talk quietly and not yell and scream at each other. And they would actually interact.
Mulher? Lavorava. No, io ho lavorato all'ospedale. No, non era sempre la mano tagliata. Prima facevamo tutto quanto, pazzo, pomodoro, tutto quanto tagliato. Fagiolo.
Questi sono i broccoli una volta tagliati, questi sono i fagioli, che poi già avete mangiato i fagioli. Questi sono i peroni, ma a quando i peroni è stata malannata, è stata malannata che tutti quanti gli sono stati caduti. E non è giù, ora no, perché stanno seccando, ora no. E non è i cucuzzi orai. E chi se ne fica c'è, ma sa fica, è bella fica, che la fica già è stata seccata qua.
Well, my mom always wanted to come to America. Her family had been here for many years, and that was her dream. But my dad was not too thrilled about it. But I think he still, as of today, wishes that he had stayed in Italy.
Io volevo venire. Moglie mi ha detto no. La moglie ha detto da America. Che ci tengo 4 frati. La sua. Da America.
We left from Naples, the port of Naples, and it took 7 days to get to New York. Everybody was happy. I remember a little brother and my sister. She was 6 or 7 years old. And even my dad, he was happy. I think they knew that they were not going to go back ever.
Amore suo, sono venuto.
I liked going over to their neighborhood, you know, because it was it just felt very, very clean and very, very traditional. You know, there was a church there, and most of the community went to the same church, and everyone knew each other, and everyone would sit on their porches and with coffee and espresso, and it was very nice to go there, and it felt familiar and it felt nice. Both Nonno and Grandma never really learned to speak English. As kids, we didn't know how to speak Italian, and just broken Italian, and we just used bits and pieces of it. So it was a very strange and unique way of like communicating with them. Not like most conventional like American families. It was very different.
So when we would go to her house, they were running in and out of houses and up and down the porches of other neighbors who were also Italian, and offering them the Italian cookies and chatting in Italian on the porch. And I think it was very important for Grandma and Nonno to have an environment that was familiar and like home, and where they could share their culture.
Besides my grandparents, there were many other relatives of ours who lived there too. And in addition to blood relatives, there were also people who we would call paisani. And paisani would be literally countrymen. And they could be people who may or may not have been related to us, or if you went a few generations back. And actually, if you sat down with a lot of these people and started talking, within, I would say, 30 minutes, you could probably figure out whether they were related to you. And a lot of times they were.
Somebody was sick, you know, there will always be somebody there to kind of stop by, see if they need anything, bring food, make sure they're okay. And Mom always would cook something and bring it to them, or bring something from the garden. She had lots of friends in the neighborhood.
Grandma worked at a hospital, Nazareth Hospital, and for a long time, and only up until recently, I used to think that she was actually a nurse in the hospital, because I would go with Nono sometimes to pick her up from work. I remember that, and she would be there and dressed in white, and I used to think that she was a nurse. And only years later, I found out that she was just working in the laundry department, folding laundry and other duties like that. And Nono worked at a metal stand factory. And he retired before she did. So when she was still working, Nona was mostly in the garden at home working.
When we were younger, I remember on Sundays we would go to my grandmother's and grandfather's, and he would begin to tell us these stories about these men of the village who would steal from the rich and give to the poor. These great tales of the Il Brigante would sometimes be, you know, a little bit overwhelming, and my grandmother would have to calm him down, you know, kind of quiet him down. And I remember that being, it's a very fond memory.
When you would hear this music, a lot of it would be, you know, it was always in Italian language. So sometimes grandmom or other relatives would sing along with it. The memory of these old folk Italian songs have stayed with us, and even Matt has picked it up now. It kind of reminds me of the music that we were listening to and growing up with at Grandma and Nono's.
Moglie è molto un 16 aprile, ma proprio credo un 4. Qualche anno fa 4 anni.
She didn't feel well one day. Actually, it was for 2 days. The second day she got worse. We decided to take her to the hospital, to the ER. She was evaluated and she was admitted. They did tests on her. They discovered that she had a brain tumor, that it was quite big, and that it had to come out.
No, io poi ci avevano fatto l'operazione, e no operazione, bisogna fare operazione di giovane. Non c'aveva metà firma, non capisco, c'è questa firma se sta trovando il problema. Io non avevo fatto da operare, che io non avevo fermato, il giornato ha lasciato aperto, e invece mamma è morta, perché è stata operata.
The doctors did say that the tumor had to come out, because if it stayed, it would get bigger and she would have a stroke and possibly die from it. At some point it had to come out.
Why? My wife è morta. Io da quello che era bene sono andato a perché l'anima, quella da tua me,
Hai visto The Nun?
No, l'anima.
Come è successo questo?
Prima veniva. E
Sì.
quando
Chi è venuto?
l'anima viene qua.
Yeah?
Prima veniva tutti i notti. Sempre a letto a 2 mi ha detto. Ci stava finendo la mattina dopo se lì. Non ce n'è più parte.
Mm-hmm.
Quando era all'Italia, San Giuseppe, veniva sempre avanti a me, e ci stava un po' tiurnato. Ci stava. La mattina, sapeva tua via che veniva sempre avanti a me. San Giuseppe, io, quando mi hai il tuo braccio, non hai aiutato dottore, così. San Giuseppe, è venuto da casa mia e mi ha fatto vedere la Gioletta, zia Gioletta, a sera e poi mi guarda a me.
What do you think about his experience of seeing or having contact with the spirit of Saint Joseph?
Well, I really don't remember Dad going to church too much when my mom was living. I think he's very confused and he hallucinates. The chemicals in his brain are not balanced. This is what the doctor is telling me, and he needs to take medication so he can balance those chemicals. Pleasure for me to take him to the cemetery, to my mom's resting place. When he's there, he makes the connection with Mom, and I think that it's very healthy for him to go once in a while. I believe that we have this life on earth, and at some point our life here will terminate and we'll go on.
L'anima ha tagliato a Signore, io vedevo. Mamma tenendo bene mi ha portato prima di venire da America e mamma sta venuta da casa nostra e tu appena tu uscito venuta mamma mia l'Argentina e tutto l'Argentina l'Argentina è morta.
come faccio? Che sotto si scala.
He said, "Why are you taking a picture of me looking so ugly with such ugly clothes?"
I think he tries very hard to keep the same tradition going. He just wishes that people would come and help him, and that when he tries to give things away, that they would gladly accept it. He was very happy last night when we found that place. He wanted to buy tomatoes because he doesn't have the seeds to grow them. I think this is the first time in I don't know how long that he actually had to go out and buy the plants, and he couldn't remember exactly where it was. So we kept driving around in circles all over Mayfair and Tacony area. He would tell me, turn left, turn right, I think it's here. But then he couldn't tell me whether it was an actual store that we were going to or somebody grew them. He couldn't really remember exactly where we were going.
Yeah? Questo? Nemmeno. Questo, no? Quando non è uscito il fiore. Così, no?
Yes. Yes.
Ok, alright, io prendo una borsa.
Pigliano a pec.
Yeah.
Due garaggi che ci sono i pec. Ma vedete una cosa? Hai visto l'olio da sotto da quello trattore. Non è andato. Allora sapeva giorno, dentro a cacao che mi ha chiamato. Era ancora ci sono. Perché hanno fatto pure. Questo è stato marcia, prima.